Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Racine. I have a couple of different things to bring to you this week. One of them is audiobook. I rarely do audiobooks. I'm too restless, but between one thing and another, audiobooks have ruled the last 8-10 days. So the first one is called A Fatal Obsession by... I'm going to test the sound. I had a panic attack. I thought, oh God, not another microphone problem. No, everything's good. Okay, so the first one is A Fatal Obsession, and the author is Faith Martin, Martin. And it came across one of my YouTube feeds. You know, I like to listen to two other audio stations, bite-sized audio, and I think it's called Great Crime Drama, which is radio reproductions. So because I have that on my feed, I guess I got this nudge towards this book. But the station, or the YouTube station, has been taken down. So I went to Hoopla, looked all over the place in great frustration, but somehow out of, I don't know why, my prehistoric brain just kicked in and I remembered the name of the reader, which is Stephanie Racine, Racine. And I searched under her name because I thought she's a very pleasant reader. And I thought, well, maybe she's got other things that she has read that would be nice to listen to. I don't know about the story quality, but the voice quality. So I searched for her name, and lo and behold, the other books popped up. So Faith Martin has quite a lot of books to her backlist, and I didn't look at publication dates, but she has a whole bunch that were written with Oxford as the setting, and I haven't gone diving into it. I don't know what the time era is or who the protagonists are, but based on these three books, I would say she's a really good author to go after if you are looking for a series or a mystery or just a competently written book, and there happens to be a mystery in it. I did not get the clues interfering with my pleasure of the reading experience. Sometimes you get the notion as to who it is who done it too early in the book. And no, that wasn't the case with the first book that I read. So that was A Fatal Obsession. And I say read, meaning listen. The second one, but not the second in the series, is A Fatal Mistake. And the next one that I'm in the middle of is A Fatal Secret. So they can... Number 3, 4, 5 can all be found on Hoopla. I'm not sure how to go about number 1, but I suspect it's somewhere in the world. If you're a good Googler, you should be able to find it. So what we have in this series is a winter-spring relationship. We've got Clement Ryder, who is a coroner. He was a doctor, really good doctor, came up with Parkinson's and had to make a lifestyle shift. And so he took his medical knowledge and became a coroner judge. And so every once in a while a case comes across his courtroom and he's not satisfied. The other protagonist is a 20-year-old, what do they call it there, WPC. The setting is the 1960s, so that's also nice. We're not really dealing with wars, rationing, all that kind of stuff. So PC Trudy Loveday is the second protagonist. She is one of the first female officers in the Oxford precinct. She's not well loved because she's female. In terms of everybody else, she's adored, but her fellow police officers are like, "Blah, there's a mouse in the kitchen and it smells," that kind of idiocy. So she's got a couple of problems on her hands. One is getting cooperation from her superior, but also from her fellow police officers. So she has been seconded to the coroner's office because her superior is like, let's get her out of here, and he thinks that's a great way to get rid of her. So the coroner's office, Dr. Ryder, thinks, I've got this dud on my hands, but turns out that no, they really work well together, and there's no, or at this point, there's no, love interest. It's entirely professional. So we've got this experienced coroner, we've got and doctor, and we've got this extremely naive, inexperienced police officer. So they solve a couple of different mysteries, and let me see, the first one, trying to remember because I've done them bang bang bang. The first one, well, I'm not going to tell you. I don't remember. You're going to have to trust me. This one of them was about a college students in Oxford. I think that was a fatal mistake. Oh, I'm so bad. Anyways, there's Oxford students, someone gets drowned, trying to figure out whether the drowning was a mishap or a murder, and so they're doing the research to try and figure that one out. That one I had an inkling who the murderer was, but how it had been done. I got a clue on that one about 60% through, but I didn't know who'd done it. And the current one I'm reading is about a young child that has been discovered in a well, not alive, and they're trying to figure out if there's some monkey business behind that. And so at the moment, because I'm only about a quarter of the way through, there's just lots of unknowns. I'm really enjoying it. I think that if I'll probably look for the hard copy at the library for case number 2, and just to continue to do it as an audiobook, because it's the kind of story where I can come back to it. It's well written enough that I'm not forgetting what's happened, and so if someone phones or if someone's talking to me in the background, I can pause it easily, and I'm not getting frustrated because I'm enjoying the process of listening. Sometimes one of the things I get frustrated about audiobooks is if the reader isn't doing a particularly good job, then it's I haven't been paying full attention, and I come back to it and I think, oh God, I don't remember what was happening. So I'm remembering what's happening. The other 2 books I read, the next one is very different. It's called Dead Wednesday by Jerry Spinelli, and I picked this up because I recognize the author's name, but also I read the book that they're reprising here, which is Stargirl. This is a middle grade book. Sorry, I don't know if you're getting too much glare. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. There's just glare. That's the library doing that. Okay, so what we have here is an experience of Dead Wednesday, and that is the 8th graders in a school get the name of a kid who had died during the past year, and that person is sort of high school and lower, and they are the victims of preventable deaths, not murder, but things like driving too fast or swimming with, like when it's too cold, and just those kinds of accidental driving while texting, all those kinds of things. Fatal illness doesn't count. And so you get the name of this individual, and you are that individual for a day, and it's somewhere in the last month of school in June, and the teachers and also the community don't see you. So what they're trying to get across is the message of being dead means you're not there. It's a psychological thing to try and convince kids to reduce risky behavior. I'm not sure that experience has been well crafted. If I'm in the brain of the people who are organizing it in the town, I think it's a little heavy-handed, and I don't think it really gets the message across. Jerry Spinelli, who's got the idea, I think does a reasonable job of that. I mean, he would just have to spend way too much of his book getting into what would be practices that would get the message across to the kids more effectively. But the kids are all, kind of pretending it's not happening, and they're on the cell phones. And so we've got our main protagonist, and his name is Worm. I think that is his nickname. I don't really know how it arose. His real name is Robbie. And he gets the name of a young girl who was 17, Becca Finch. And he sees her. She's not really a ghost. They decide to call her a spectral maiden. And she thinks she's come back from the wherevers to help Robbie. As we go along, we realize Robbie's kind of maybe helping her, or they're helping each other. It's a fascinating little idea, and it's really well done. And Robbie, who is he's got bad acne, and so he's become quite reclusive, except for his best friend. And so he's become he's not nonverbal, but he's as little verbal as he can get away with. And he's just dropped out of anything he needs to participate in. He's got terrible self-esteem issues going on. And so one of the things that this black shirt does is gives him permission to do things, but he's not being seen, right? Nobody can comment on it. Nobody. So he does a couple of wacky things, and they're not dangerous, but they're just out of character for him. And so we see his relationship with this spectral maiden develop over the course of a day, and quite a lot of really interesting questions start running through his mind and his response to that. So it's a short book. I think I'm sure I read it in about 4 hours or something like that, about 225 pages roughly. I think it's excellent. Jerry Spinelli is a middle grade author that you just cannot go wrong with. I've read a couple of his other books, which is one of the reasons I trusted picking this up. And I'm going to go back and get a couple that I haven't read. And it's fiction. It's called Knots in My Yo-Yo String, an autobiography of a kid. I think that sounds fun. And Hokey Pokey. So I think Jerry Spinelli is one that I'm going to just, over the course of the summer, just see if I can get through his backlist. Now, on the other side of the coin, and back to mysteries, we have Alone in the Wild by Kelly Armstrong, who also wrote City of the Lost. She's Canadian. They don't have a little Canadian flag on this, but she lives. Where does she live? Ontario, rural Ontario. Degree in psychology, and then studied computer programming. This is a really interesting book. So we have two main protagonists. They're north of the Yukon, north of Dawson City, and there's a little town called Rockton. And these main protagonists, one is the sheriff, and he's called by his last name, Dante, and Eric Dante, and then the detective who's, do you know what, I don't think I ever came across her last name, Chelsea. Duncan, Chelsea Duncan. So they're in this little town of Rockton, and this is a place where I'm not sure how the inhabitants arrive, but there's about 200 inhabitants, and they're running from something. They're running from abuse or hitmen, or they are hitmen and they're running to, so there seems to be quite a large budget in terms of housing and supplies and detectives and doctors and all that kind of business. But who gets them to the Rockton place? I don't know. And actually, I wonder, maybe the one that I just mentioned, City of the Lost, maybe. So there's a couple of books beforehand. Watcher in the Woods, This Fallen Prey. So I'm sure those books give the questions that I don't have answered in this book, which is good, because you don't want a book to continually be referencing to an earlier book. these two, Chelsea and Eric, are on a camping weekend. They've got a weekend off for a change, and she hears a baby crying in the woods and discovers a woman who's dead. And that's not a spoiler, it's in the beginning parts. And underneath the underneath this dead woman's coat is a baby. And so who's the mother? Is she the mother, or was she stealing the baby? So we get to see the lifestyle of people outside of Rockton. There's a first settlement, second settlement. There's a group of nomadic traders who are like, oops, oh, someone wants me. And then there are people called the Wild Ones. And so the Wild Ones have got some kind of hallucinogenic tea that makes them really unstable. So, could it be that the baby comes from them? If so, that's not a good family for them to go back to. Are they from one of the other settlements? Are they from this trader group? So the dilemma that's facing Casey and Eric is, who is the dead woman? Who does the baby belong to? Who killed the dead woman? Was it a hunting accident or was it deliberate? Should the baby be returned to her parents? And then there's a whole bunch of other like subplots going on in terms of trading and exchanges and trust. And some of the residents in the town of Rockton are not wanting this baby to be around because it's a child-free zone and nobody under the age of 18 can be there. So it's a very interesting community, and the mystery itself, it's mostly solved not by clues, but by conversation and understanding human nature, and sometimes a little bit, which I never love, but just a little bit of mental ill health. It's more like it's not like schizophrenia, thank goodness. We don't have the big evil mental health person coming in and destroying the world. It's more like, what does cabin fever do to you, and what does a deep isolation do to you, and how do you think about certain items, good, wrong, right, bad, that kind of thing, in isolation when there are no other reference points. And so what would be bad thing to do in one setting would be just like who cares in another. So I really enjoyed it. I got through this pretty quickly because I really enjoyed it. I also wanted to be done in time for today, but I seriously enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to recommend this author to both of my book clubs, one who does Canadian authors and the other one who likes a mystery once in a while. So I think it's really strong. Now, I should just also mention that Kelly Armstrong has 6 other series that she's been writing for, and then a couple of standalone novels. So she's clearly, there's clearly quantity. So it just goes to see whether there's quality. Let me see, is there anything else? No, I'm going to go to the library on Thursday and see if I can pick up some more books. Those 2 books were just, I wandered in on a nice day. I was trying to get all my steps in. I just wandered in and got lucky. I do like that the library turns books so that you can see the front, because it isn't so much judging a book by its cover as judging a book because I can read the cover. Like, to me, reading a book like this, so the author's kind of covered, this is kind of covered. Oh, there's the Canadian sign. I didn't see it. The title is kind of covered. You get glare in the library as well if the lights are poor. And so, and then you're turning your head like this, or you're turning your head like that, and I just find it visually confusing to discern what I'm reading, and then going, have I read? So I like when they just present things like this every so often. And So if I'll see Kelly Armstrong perhaps, and this is pretend number book 4, then I'll go back to the shelf and I'll look and see whether number 1 is there. Or sometimes what I'll do is take a picture of the front of the cover, and then when I come home, I will I'll go online and then I'll order book number 1. But it's just it's the same in bookstores, you know. It's just a good way to flout a book, is to have it turned. Now, they can't do that for every book in the library, so that's why you got to keep going, right? It's a little bit like going to a used clothing store. If you want to get the best stuff, you got to go often. So if I want to get good books at the library, I've got to go more regularly so that I can see what books they've turned out for that day. The other thing the library does that I enjoy is they've often got tables where I think right now, no, it's not Black History Month, but I could be wrong, I think it's Asian mysteries that they've got on one of the tables. Another one has to do with vegan cookbooks, which there's no mystery there. And then I think the other one was Sarah, Meet Sarah. And so anything that had Sarah as the author or the title was part of the display. And then they've got another one that I haven't been courageous enough to try, is Go on a Blind Date. So they've got a whole bunch of books that are wrapped in paper you can't tell. And I'm going to assume they're romance books, but so I natter on. Well, yeah, I think that's it for me. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.